Guys, it's December 14th, and you might be like, what is December 14th? Why is this a significant date? Well, it's my birthday! Oh my gosh! So, literally, I had an exam today for my accounting course at 2 p.m., celebrated my birthday with my friends, and now I'm here filming this video at 11 p.m. And low-key, I was thinking of just skipping this week because I was like, final season. I didn't have much time to like prep this video or anything, but I figured why not. Today's kind of gonna be like a discussion video where I just sit down and talk about this topic specifically. Probably not the best for a happy birthday video, definitely not at all. We're going to be talking about the VCHA situation that came in light, and I thought it would be very relevant to talk about because it is quite relevant to the entertainment industry. Even though it isn't directly K-pop related, VCHA is still under JYP Entertainment, which is one of the top K-pop entertainment companies in Korea. And I think what surprised people the most about this situation, which I will be describing later on if you're not up to date with it, but basically one of the members of the global girl group VCHA that JYP created, I think a couple of years ago, one of the members, KG, actually left the group and left the company saying that she's going to sue JYP Entertainment for various reasons, but the overall general problem being mistreatment and unfair treatment, basically. But a lot of people were shocked because they think, oh, well, JYP's the best out of these bigger companies. They take care of their, trainees and idols well. And if you were to choose one company from the big three, it would be JYP. And I agree. And I might still agree if I'm being honest. When I first heard this news, I was shocked, but I wasn't surprised, if that makes sense. It was very upsetting to hear. And also, I watched the whole survival show, watched them kind of develop as a group, form as a group, and also enjoy their music. So hearing this was really, really upsetting for me, but at the same time, it's really not surprising given how demanding the entertainment industry is, and specifically the K-pop industry, because it's a little bit different. The training system's different, the way artists and idols are treated are different. But let's get into this. So I'm going to be referencing a Google document that I'll be linking down below if you guys want to read the whole thing. It's a little bit more detailed than what I'll be going through today in this video. But basically, a JYPE dance teacher, while during dance practice, denied her water while allowing others to drink and insisted that she could only hydrate after mastering the move. This reflects severe abuse and violations of California laws and norms. And the reason why her suing JYPE is going to be so much easier, by the way, when I say JYP, I really mean JYP Entertainment, not the person, but it's so much easier because they're under California laws, meaning that California, they're a state that's pretty much known for, unfortunately, known for child labor laws, because there's a lot of cases where parents or adults will abuse their child and make them work in the entertainment industry. So there are a lot more laws that are based around that than Korea per se. So it does make it an easier situation, if not more of a situation where she can take advantage of these laws, which is good for her. JYPE imposed strict control over Cam's life, from the early morning hours spent in school to the long, grueling rehearsals that stretched close to midnight. So why I say I'm not really surprised from the situation is because it seems like a typical training life, and as sad as it is, and I believe it has to be changed, but every idol, every K-pop idol that's worked in the industry probably can agree to at least 80% of what KG's mentioning in this document, and that is the reality. And I think a lot of people do have to brace themselves for that if they are preparing to be a part of the entertainment industry. You have to expect that you are going to be probably treated as less than human at times, and for the sacrifice of becoming an idol. And a lot of companies are going to treat you this way because, well, it's your dream. So, you should work hard if this is your dream, right? Otherwise, just give up. That's kind of the attitude that they're going to give you. And honestly, it's not the most fair environment whatsoever. But there's some other parts that are a little bit worse than this. So let's get into it. All right, so this part was very interesting. It's about their contract and also the debt. Now, the debt situation is definitely something that I want to get into because that specific part, which is talking about how they, bought a house and things like that, how that factored into their contract even after debut, so even after trainee debt, is very, very interesting. Now, when Keishi actually posted on her Instagram announcing this, she mentioned that she's in a lot of debt. and this honestly is not a surprise. But a lot of people also mentioned before, like there are rumors saying, oh, the big three or Hive doesn't have debt. That isn't true at all. Just because they're a big company does not mean that they do not have debt whatsoever, although it depends on your contract. Most cases you are going to have debt. It's just that you get to pay it off pretty quickly because most big three artists end up being quite successful after debuting, and you'll be able to pay that off quite quickly, whereas other smaller groups might not be able to achieve that same success, and that's why their debt adds on and on and on and on, and it's kind of like a repeat of that, I suppose. JYPE pressured KG to live in a group home, saying that it was important for the group's success even though the contract claimed it was optional. Now, I don't know why JYPE is going against these contracts, because like it's an experience, they're an experienced company. Like, should they not know better than to go against what their contract literally says? I don't know. She was afraid of the consequences if she refused and agreed to live there, as a young girl probably would. And JYPE chose an expensive $2.5 million house without her input and later claimed that KG owed them $500K for it. Instead of paying her for her hard work, they took money from her earnings to cover these costs, forcing her to work for free, while JYPE used the fancy lifestyle to attract more fans and make more money. Now, this part is actually quite relevant to K-pop because basically if you are living in a house and the company is covering for it, technically it's all going back to your debt, and it's like a whole system. I've talked about it previously in videos that were dedicated to talking about debt, but that is one thing for sure. No company is going to pay for all of your training and all of your debut expenses for free, and that is just the unfortunate circumstances of it. And that's why people say it's hard to find success as a K-pop idol, because it's a lot of money. Her contract probably did mention all of these things, saying that, you know, you do have to like owe money for it, and without her input, like buying that specific house, that really expensive house without her input, obviously goes against her contract. But the other things most likely were in her contract and she can't sue them over that, although it's highly unethical and not right really for them to pay for all of that. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't think that an artist themselves would have to pay in the place that they live in when they have a huge company that's backing them and supporting them, if that makes sense. So now it actually mentions her training schedule. So it starts at 7 a.m. with 3 hours of school before rushing to JYP's practice building by 10:30 a.m. for training that officially ended at 7 p.m. but often stretched until midnight or later. And the staff pressured her to stay as late as 1 to 2 a.m., warning of disappointment or consequences if she left early. And this is like so sad, but at the same time, again, like very realistic for a trainee schedule. So basically she received no pay for any of the work she performed after 6:30 p.m. because that technically wasn't like training hours, and that's just like her practicing. Her and her group mates were denied proper meals as part of JYP's policy to maintain extreme thinness. Oh my gosh, who said JYP had organic meals and they feed them well? Like, no. And if so, that's probably talking about boy groups, because let's be so real right now. The standard for girl group members being thin, whereas boy group members, it's like vastly different, and you'll be so heavily criticized as a female compared to a male. So just keep that in mind as we are discussing this topic. But they were told that they would regret how they looked if they didn't lose weight. Meals were limited and they often were encouraged not to eat or rest. One occasion, after missing lunch, KG had to attend a 4-hour rehearsal without food. This isn't new at all. I mean, JYP and also other big companies and other artists are known for having these strict diets. I mean, Momo from Twice, also under JYP, was told that she wouldn't debut until she lost a certain amount of weight. And her famous ice cube diet, you just eat ice cubes. That's like insane and so unhealthy. And that is an eating disorder, like if you're only eating ice cubes. And she also mentioned that she was afraid of going to sleep because what if she didn't wake up because she was so malnourished. Like, that shocks me so much. So that's kind of one of the reasons why this didn't shock me at all, because a lot of K-pop artists are probably malnourished or they're overworking themselves. And that's, again, another reality that you have to be aware of when you're stepping into the K-pop industry. And then the other points talk about how basically she was sick, and then the doctor told her not to dance, I think it was, yeah, not to dance and move. And obviously the staff said, no, you're gonna still practice. And same thing for when she got a virus and she was still expected to sing while it was recommended that she wasn't. And then it gets into some really, really upsetting stuff. So trigger warning, if you are going to be triggered by suicide, mentions of suicide, just be warned right now. But this is definitely the worst part of it. KG and her underage groupmates faced intense mental and emotional pressure, with some resorting to self-harm. KG witnessed another member develop an eating disorder, which led to a suicide attempt in February of 2024 after ingesting 42 NyQuil pills. 42, is that even possible? The member began vomiting uncontrollably and KG discovered it. Although KG and others had raised concerns with JIPE, the staff dismissed them, saying eating disorders were common. And they were not lying, but that is so upsetting to hear. And that part, like, genuinely made me want to cry because the underage groupmate that was mentioned in attempting to do suicide, like, that's so... Obviously, it's not good to speculate, but, you know, a member of VCHA was on hiatus for a while, and this perfectly lines up with the timeline of February 2024. So if you put those two together, you can definitely see how young the member is. And at that age, to be having an eating disorder, and then to later having to recover from the emotional distress that she went through, I can't imagine what she's going through, and I really wish the best for her and also the other members, of course. And the last part that I want to talk about is constant surveillance and hidden cameras. So there was a hidden camera in the dining area of their $2.5 million apartment or house, whatever it was, and it was recorded, and they recorded their private conversations and meals without their knowledge or consent. A surveillance sticker found in the pantry revealed their eating habits. Insane. Monitored 24/7. KG only discovered the cameras months later, which made her feel even more trapped, controlled, and powerless. Like, I think I would lose my mind if someone was constantly watching me and seeing what I eat and seeing what I do, seeing what I talk about every single moment of the day, and you cannot get a sense of peace at all. So that's definitely not gonna be good in court. Like, that has to go against at least like 5 laws. That's insane to me. But again, probably allowed in the K-pop industry. And I see a lot of people comparing VCHA to K-pop artists, saying, oh, you know, she's probably only saying this because she can't last in the K-pop industry and she doesn't know better. I'm like, dude, obviously this is happening in the K-pop industry, but at the same time, this shouldn't be normalized at all. And people are saying it's embedded in Korea's work culture, so that you have to like go through all these hardships because it's only going to make you stronger. But I just find that like outraging. So I previously filmed like key takeaways from this video that I wanted to share with you guys, especially for those who are aspiring to be K-pop artists, but I just didn't really like how it sounded, so I'm going to re-record it right now as I'm editing it. I'm filming this on my iPad, so the quality is quite bad. But the first thing is to read your contracts well before you sign it. A lot of people skim over this process because they want to become K-pop artists really bad, and that process just completely skipped over. If it makes you feel more comfortable, get yourself a legal representative or a lawyer to read through it so that there aren't any suspicious clauses or details that you might look over if you and your family are just like reading through it. I think it's definitely a lesson learned kind of thing here, where you don't want to rush that process because it's so important and it might trip you up later on in life. Secondly is to take care of yourself. This might be obvious, but at the end of the day, it's just you that's caring for your own health and your well-being. So that's something that you've got to do, take care of yourself, really. And then kind of connecting to that, my third takeaway for this video is, if you're in a situation where it doesn't feel right, where you feel like it's unethical and you feel like you need to speak up, definitely do it. I mean, KG just suing JYP, leaving VCHA, I think made quite an impact. I mean, I would say so for maybe others that are in a situation where they feel like they're trapped and they don't have the power to speak up. I think speaking up in situations where things are already so normalized but you know it's wrong can be really, really difficult, and to like break that overarching cycle. So if you guys are in a situation, it doesn't have to be K-pop related, where it doesn't feel right for you, just make sure to stand your own ground and speak for yourself, because you don't know who you could be helping at the end of the day. I look like shit right now, but bye. Share your thoughts in the comments below and I would love to hear them. Let's talk more about this. And also, if you guys are aspiring to be K-pop idols, how this makes you feel. I would love to hear your thoughts genuinely. I'm gonna head to sleep now because I'm quite tired. I mean, final exam and all, and I have to study for Monday's final exam. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.